is where the heart is, and my heart is anywhere you are, anywhere you are is home.
Good morning, and welcome to Home is Where the Heart Is. My name is Craig Schweiger. This show is sponsored by Federated Reverse Mortgage. We're here to help seniors understand reverse mortgages, both the costs and the considerations, and we'll talk about those in today's show, along with all the benefits that a senior can receive with a reverse mortgage. Obviously, you will have questions even after the show, so please take down my phone number and I'll give you an email address as well. You can reach me direct, 412-866-HOME, and my email is craig@fedreverse.com. We also have a website. It's www.federatedreversemortgage.com. I'll give you that contact information later in the show and then maybe at the end as well. Well, today's show we're going to talk about retirement planning and how the reverse mortgage tool can be used for seniors. At the time they're 62 and older, they have the ability to secure a mortgage against their home for the purpose of accessing some of the equity in their home. And you can access equity in a number of different ways, but we'll go into details about that shortly. I am a big proponent of good retirement planning. It is prudent to go into those retirement years as well prepared as possible, just so that seniors are able to live more comfortably. Now, that's easier said than done. We all work real hard and try to save what we can, but we're faced with rising costs of living and more difficult to put aside enough money. So let's talk about retirement. There's generally some fixed sources of income, pensions, whether you work for a corporation that sets you up with a pension, or the access to Social Security, which we'd like to all think will be around forever, but there's no guarantees. So therefore, saving for retirement is a number one goal for anyone out there getting ready for retirement, because what that does is it gives you a liquid asset that during times that you have higher expenses or purchases, trips, new car, things you need to acquire that doesn't fit within your fixed income budget, you have the liquidity to do that. One asset that seniors often overlook is the equity in their home. The statistics show that the asset known as liquidity in your home is over $6 trillion for seniors. We talk about it's almost like a treasure chest of sorts. Your home's paid off, you're earning your fixed income, and your savings may not be sufficient, but you have this treasure chest in your backyard that you can access and help make life more comfortable. The important thing in good planning is how to utilize that additional asset prudently, along with the other planning that you've done. Things can get somewhat complicated, but as a good planner, and I work with many, as well as those that help seniors navigate through Medicaid, Medicare, open enrollment, and guidelines that the government puts out, it's nice to have a broad view of all of the seniors' retirement so that you don't want to make a decision that helps you in one area but hurts you in another area. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. What seniors find out as they get into the retirement age and make a decision to start collecting Social Security is that there are times that the government will tax your Social Security benefits, even up to 50%. And that makes it very difficult. Seniors will enter retirement thinking that they can make a small amount of money and still collect their retirement. And the rule does allow them to make a certain amount of money. Currently, that number is $18,960. And that is a nice supplement to seniors' Social Security income. But when it gets over that number, the government will tax your Social Security. And seniors will often need more money to meet their needs on a month-to-month basis. So it's really a catch-22, because if you work harder for additional income, you'll lose money in your Social Security benefit. So we'll often talk with seniors about taking a supplemental payment from the equity they have in their home. And that supplemental payment can be set up to be paid out over any term, a 5-year term, a 10-year term, even for life. And when we put the calculation in the computer, and they make that choice, it tells us exactly how much that payment can be. And that is a tax-free income stream because it is your equity. So it doesn't impact the Social Security benefits. And if a senior is able to work a little bit less to stay under that maximum and even enjoy life more in retirement, they don't necessarily have to give up that income stream that they've determined that they need. If you're joining us, my name is Craig Schweiger. I'm with Federated Reverse Mortgage, and we're talking about, well, first reverse mortgages, but sort of at a higher level, we're talking about retirement planning and how there's so many moving parts to this. And we find out that often seniors haven't given a lot of thought to that in advance. If this is you, don't feel bad. Just this past week, I spoke to a person that was private banking with a major bank here in our city, as well as a pharmacist, an educated, intelligent person that they're both about to turn 65. And through our conversation, I'm realizing that they hadn't asked themselves a lot of these questions. So that's most of us. If you find yourself in that situation and you don't have an advisor, or if you have an advisor and you want to introduce the idea of learning about a reverse mortgage and getting the equity from your home as another tool in your retirement, please feel free to call me. I'll be the person that you speak to. I'll be the person that meets with you. And I really look forward to sharing what benefits are there. What I'll do typically when I do speak to a senior, and this goes out to all of our listeners, whether you're a senior or not, I'm going to take a lot of time at the beginning of the conversation to find out if, first, you qualify for a reverse mortgage, and second, if it seems advisable. There's some things on the front end that you look at that it just tells you right away, even if you own your home and you have enough equity, if your intention is to sell your home and move, well, we would let you know right away that you probably want to hold off on getting a reverse mortgage until you land in that home that you think you'll be in longer term. We're also going to talk to you about your plans for the equity you have in your home. And we're going to ask you the question. This is money that you'll have access to, but if as you use it, you are aware that you're using the equity you currently have in your home. However, home values generally increase on a regular basis, and therefore you will continue to have equity, but you do need to be aware that you'll have less than had you not gotten a reverse mortgage. This is an asset that when you use it, it is a loan against the equity you have in your home, and as any loan, there is interest. And what seniors really appreciate about reverse mortgages, there's a couple points. One is when you take it and you utilize that money, you don't have to make a payment. It's not like just taking out a loan and spending it on those things you want and then all of a sudden have to pay it back over a certain number of years. This loan is paid for on a monthly basis, that the interest due, it's not a principal and interest payment, it's just whatever interest is due at the time is added to your loan size. So that part will grow. The hope and the reason why the government does these is because they know that the value of the home will grow at the same time. Besides no payment, seniors do not have to qualify for this loan the way most borrowers are required to qualify for what's known as a conventional or a forward mortgage. Sure, there's still a need for a credit report and appraisal, but income isn't looked at as closely because there's not a requirement to make the principal and interest payment. Credit isn't looked at as closely. Now, they will look at the last couple years. They want to make sure that you've been able to keep up with any debts that you have in the last couple years. But these are set up so that when a senior closes on a reverse mortgage, they're almost always in a better financial circumstance than before they took the mortgage. And that means that if you have a loan against your home and you have enough equity, well, that loan can be paid off. So immediately, when you're doing retirement planning, there's two basic things you look at. You look at your income, money in, and then you look at your expenses, money out. So obviously, anything you can do to increase your income is positive, up to the point of if it increases your taxes and it starts to deplete, you want to stay away from that, depleting your benefits. And then the other thing is reducing your expenses. So by taking a reverse mortgage to pay maybe your current mortgage, or a recent borrower just had a $25,000 personal loan that they're paying on, any of those debts that are paid by that reverse mortgage will stop the total payment that's being required, the principal and interest part of it. A senior does need to acknowledge that they have to keep their homeowner's insurance in place and continue to pay that, have to continue to pay their taxes on the property. So if you're just joining us, this is Home is Where the Heart Is, a program for seniors that's sponsored by Federated Reverse Mortgage. My name is Craig Schweiger. We're going over the costs and benefits of a reverse mortgage, but we're also going into some details about good retirement planning. I can be reached at 412-866-HOME, or you can email me, craig@fedreverse.com. Besides the considerations that we just discussed, it's very important to discuss the costs of a reverse mortgage. A reverse mortgage, generally speaking, is for a senior 62 and older that wants to stay in their home. They want a tool that will allow them to keep up with their home as far as maintenance and repairs, as well as the taxes and insurance, their financial situation. What is it going to take to allow a senior to stay in their home? Therefore, let's talk about the costs. Well, first of all, if a senior is looking at the prospects of needing to sell their home because they just aren't able to stay in it because of those things I mentioned, they're going to need to sell their home. And unless they have a buyer or are willing to do a for sale by owner, besides just the cost of gathering up years of possessions, as well as transfer taxes when you sell your home, you have a real estate commission, and it's a hassle. So there is a very significant cost to leaving a home. And those are the tangible items. Intangible is walking away from memories, just things that it's hard. It's hard for anyone after living in a home for a long time to depart. The costs for a reverse mortgage are not insignificant. I always talk about those when I'm talking to a senior. The insurance required in order to make sure that you can always stay in your home and that the value will never fall below the amount that's owed is 2%. So that's 2% of the value of the home. And then you'll have to purchase a title insurance policy to insure the title. And then there's about $2,000 of other costs, such as counseling, an appraisal, recording fees. But without going into a lot of detail there, if you were tracking with that, it's a couple $1,000s plus about 3%. So definitely less than selling your home, but something that needs to be considered. Now, those costs are typically financed in the loan. So it's not necessarily an out-of-pocket. A senior will have an out-of-pocket with as much as $125 on the very beginning to do a third-party counseling that the FHA requires. And then they will have to pay for their appraisal because that's needed before closing. But those dollars can even be reimbursed for a qualified borrower at the closing. So seniors have to look at that. They have to decide how they might best utilize this equity that they have in their home. So here's some options. One is just taking a lump sum. We have a borrower right now that was quoted $2,500 for a roof repair on a home that she had the whole roof replacement quoted, and that was $6,000. So the roof doesn't have many years left on it, so she suggested going and getting the balance and just having the entire roof repaired at one time, so that that's not going to be a concern any time down the road. And we all know roofs often go bad at the absolute worst time, during a bad rainstorm or snow and ice. So she's going to be able to get that taken care of. So she's going to take a small amount up front. Her reverse mortgage will pay her for her closing costs, and then she'll have a line of credit for future use. And that's something that many borrowers take. Now, there are borrowers, one I spoke to this week, that doesn't need money right now, just wants to set up this reverse mortgage with an amount of money. And in their case, we add your birth date, which equates to what your age is, plus the value of your home. And in this person's case, they're going to have a line of credit for $140,000. I remember the borrower saying, "Oh, well, that's good. That sounds fine. I probably won't use it." And I'm going to call that borrower very prudent, because you can put yourself in a very good place when you have access to some funds for that rainy day. We all know that inflation, unforeseens, there are times that even as seniors to access additional dollars. So we talked about income stream at the beginning to help you with your Social Security benefits. We're talking about taking cash out at the closing, repairs that are necessary right now, like the roof I mentioned, but also home improvements. If this is a home that a senior wants to stay in long term and is not ideal, maybe they need to build an attached garage, a big job like adding a master bedroom to the first floor, even a ramp, putting a handicap accessible ramp in. These are all things that you can use the equity in your home to do and help a senior make their home more livable for them. You go right down the line of all the benefits. Please take note. If you or you know someone that has a reverse mortgage, they absolutely need to speak with me or another provider that offers reverse mortgages, because there has been great improvements of this product just in the last year to 18 months. Rates have come down. The cost of the insurance that's embedded in these have come down. There are no closing costs. Reverse mortgage refinances. The worst thing you can do if you have a reverse mortgage is not pay attention to it. And I can tell you, we're talking with a lot of borrowers that have these. They're very popular in other states. And we're finding that with higher rates, not paying attention to them means it's growing, and that means the loan is growing much faster than it has to. And with these benefits that you can get by replacing that reverse mortgage, you need to talk with those borrowers. If you are a senior that has a reverse mortgage, please just call. We can run some numbers and try to illustrate what replacing that reverse mortgage would do for you right now. As our show winds down here, I do want to tag on to the conversation I had about Social Security benefits. We're headed into Medicare open enrollment. Many seniors out there have to look at that. And we talked about how Social Security benefit impacts that as it relates to various supplemental Medicare plans, advantages. If you're in a case where you're earning more that you can't take advantage of, some of Part B, that's a reason to look at a reverse mortgage to replace some of the income you're getting that's hurting your benefits. And I've even heard cases where we have a retirement planner that we talk with that was able to reduce a senior's Medicare supplement cost, which was $250. Was able to secure a Part B for $148, but there was a give back for $130. Net, they saved $250 with only an $18 increase, and a lot of that was possible for that senior because the senior was able to supplement their income with a tax-free income stream that came from, in this case, her reverse mortgage. The last thing I want to talk about today, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention, Federated Mortgage has been a longtime supporter of local ministries here in Pittsburgh. Most recently, given a lot of support to Light of Life and their relocation. Part of our show here, Home is Where the Heart is to support and promote ministries here in Pittsburgh and the surrounding region. So I'm going to give our website because we have previous shows that featured ministries like Light of Life, including Jarrell Gilliam, their executive director, and Doug Smith, Denny Patton of the Silver Ring Thing, who's recently founded The Family Wins, Jason Burt of Unaltered, Patrick Myers, executive director at the Ligonier Camp and Conference Center, and Brad Henderson, who is the chaplain for the Pirates and the Penguins and also founded the Pittsburgh Kids Foundation. We have on our website those shows, and if you're interested in any of those very, very good ministries serving many in the name of Jesus right here in our own town, you can go to www.federatedreversemortgage.com. The upper right-hand corner has a notation where you can click on to go to these past shows and listen to some very good people and learn about what they're doing here in our city. Not only does Federated Reverse Mortgage support and promote these organizations with this show, but we also financially contribute to these causes. I just wanted to take some time to let our listeners know that our work with seniors, making sure they fully understand not just the benefits, but also all the considerations about a reverse mortgage, is really a calling and a ministry of itself. I get as much joy out of dispelling some myths and even sometimes letting seniors know that it's not a good option to do a reverse mortgage, but sending them on the right track with the advisors that they work with is every bit as important as being able to help someone with a reverse mortgage. The last, and we've heard from many seniors, having worked in the nonprofit realm, how they have such a heart to help people with this equity in their home that they've worked so hard to earn. And we find it often in bequests where when the senior passes and the estate in their will directs assets to some of these ministries that they care so much about. Well, that would be the last. I'll put that out there as this allows a senior to, whether it be their heirs, their children, their grandchildren, or these other things that are just near and dear to their heart, that's an opportunity to share some of that hard-earned equity at a time that the senior gets to enjoy. They get to select who gets it and when, at times that it's most needed. So that's something I feel strongly about, having that control over when and to whom and how much they can give while they can still enjoy blessing of giving to those various areas. So with that, I hope that today's show has helped our listeners that are interested in not just potentially looking at a reverse mortgage, but just basic retirement planning, good concepts around how to live more comfortably in retirement. My name is Craig Schweiger. This show is Home is Where the Heart Is. It's where mortgage meets ministry. We are sponsored by Federated Reverse Mortgage. Call me. You can reach me directly at 412-866-HOME. Email me at craig@fedreverse.com. Or again, you can check out past shows and learn about reverse mortgages on our website, www.federatedreversemortgage.com. Thanks for being with us today. Have a great Saturday, and God bless.
Home is where the heart is, and my heart is anywhere you are, anywhere you are is home.